The SmackDown and Raw commissioners have been named. Brock Lesnar wins at UFC 200. Balor versus Nakamura delivers on NXT, and TNA features the debut of a new star, a returning star, and the elevation of a current star all in one show. John Cena makes a big move for his post-WWE career. Details on all this, along with news on the WWE Draft, DWHS, hot news, Diamond of the Ring, and much, much more, here on the longest-running wrestling talk show in the world today, right now on My24 Milwaukee and Fight TV.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report, PrimeTime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report PrimeTime Saturday night for Saturday, July 16, 2016. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius the Tiberius, the alleged backyard, one-time knockout, straight edge, hardcore, Hall of Famer hero. And how the heck are you here on this glorious Saturday?
It has been an amazing week. It has been sunshine and butterflies.
And Bastille.
Bastille Days.
It's Bastille Days this weekend, my favorite summer festival.
You do love the French, don't you?
I do. When you can put an Eiffel Tower in the middle of Milwaukee, I love it.
French fries,
the statue,
croissants,
I mean.
Creme brulee, everything is there for you.
Creme brulee.
How are you like it?
Well, let's get right down to it, folks, and kick it off with this week's big story, which is brought to you by Gruber Law Offices, who is always ready to represent you in your personal injury case and to get you the compensation you deserve. All you need to do, folks, for your free consultation is call 414-276-6666. Last week, we talked extensively about the impact of a Brock Lesnar win or loss at UFC 200 going into his match at SummerSlam with Randy Orton. Well, the fight against Mark Hunt is now in the books, and Lesnar won that via a unanimous decision in Las Vegas last Saturday. Now, this obviously gives Lesnar a ton of momentum going into SummerSlam and quite a bit of publicity for WWE and the summer event live from Brooklyn. Now the UFC match is behind us. What should WWE do with Lesnar going in to SummerSlam, David?
Well, you can't do anything with Brock until after Battleground. Because you don't want
Which is next weekend, right?
Because you don't want to confuse the fans about the pay-per-views.
Okay.
That's why Randy Orton will not be on TV until Battleground with, I believe it's Jericho on the highlight reel.
Is that right?
Yes.
Smart.
Yeah, of course it is. And you know what?
Well, there could be your Lesnar.
No, Lesnar's not going to show up.
Because he can't just destroy Randy, right?
No.
Not yet?
He'll be up on Raw the following night, and then they're going to heavy promotional because he has to rebuttal whatever Randy Orton says at Battleground.
What can Randy Orton say at Battleground?
He has to sell the RKO.
He's walking into a match with the man who was UFC champion, who is basically undefeated in WWE, and he has
coming off an injury.
Chance of winning.
Of course he does. He's Randy Orton. He's the Viper.
RKO's out of nowhere. Did you see the image someone did of Randy RKOing Brock in the UFC as a Photoshop gimmick?
No.
But, more importantly, I guess, and there's been a lot of discussion about this, should WWE permit Brock Lesnar to fight again in the UFC?
No, absolutely not.
Still against it.
Yes.
Even though, as tentative as you were going into this fight last Saturday,
he didn't knock the guy out.
But
he
won.
Didn't make him tap.
But he won.
I agree. Yeah, he did. It's still dangerous. Why would you do that?
Brock Lesnar stands to make, by reports, about $7 million from this one-night fight.
Yes.
Probably more than he's making annually in WWE.
Oh, easily more.
WWE got a promotion for SummerSlam on that show. They got a promotion for their video game on that show. They got all this discussion of former WWE champion, former WWE star Brock Lesnar returns to the Octagon. They have received millions of dollars in free publicity for their company.
But how many times has Brock Lesnar left a WWE match looking the way he did on Saturday night?
What do you mean?
Beat up.
A couple of times. More often than not after Cena. Well, I mean, it was a real fight, David Hero.
Exactly.
Come on, let's be real here. After he beat The Undertaker, he was selling. After he whooped John Cena a new one, he was selling.
But like Brock said, he's almost 40 years old.
Yeah.
His body can't take that kind of punishment.
But he said in the post-fight that he proved to himself he can still do this, and gave every indication that he wants to do it again.
To a guy that is older than him, not a guy that is younger than him. It's a big difference.
So he shouldn't ever fight again in the UFC because of that?
Well, as long as you are in the WWE, there's no reason to do it.
You'd walk away from a $7 million payday.
If I got $7 million, I'm pretty happy with that. And I didn't lose.
What is Brock's risk? Brock, personally, what is his risk by having another UFC fight?
Losing, getting knocked out, tapping out, now you're no longer the beast.
Personally, that's his risk.
Yeah.
They wouldn't book him for another fight. He'd be dead to everybody. That's what you're saying.
I think UFC would not book him again after that.
We don't have buy rate information, but the buzz around this fight was bigger than 199. The buzz around Lesnar's return probably delivered a few thousand, if not 100,000 more buys for this fight.
Let's not forget, though, this UFC 200 was supposed to be Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz.
Correct.
Which would have been way bigger than any Brock Lesnar fight.
That's speculation. You can't measure that.
It's the truth.
No, you can't measure that. That's speculation. They didn't fight. Well, okay, so you're saying that this UFC 200 will not have outdrawn pay-per-view buys for UFC 1 when Diaz and McGregor fought before. That's what you've just said.
I don't know.
Well, no, you've just said that this was supposed to be those two, and it would have outdrawn Lesnar.
But it's
$10.7 million gate in Vegas.
But it's about the rematch that never happened. Would have been a bigger draw.
But it's speculative. It's hypothetical. Yes, it is. Okay, so fine. When that rematch happens, I guarantee you they will not exceed the buy rate of this Lesnar-led show UFC 200.
Absolutely.
Done. Guaranteed. And I will remember that this bet was made.
Okay, good. Just like. Make sure you.
As we said last week, it's difficult to see a scenario where Orton leaves SummerSlam victorious next month.
What's the wager going to be?
But it is difficult to tell. There's still so much more to come here on Prime Time. Did WWE copy TNA Monday Night on Raw? Who will be the GM of SmackDown? Who will make their big debut, or who made their big debut on Impact Wrestling and is a major NXT star on his way to the main roster? Find out the answers to these questions and many more when Primetime returns here on My24 and Fight TV.
The Soder family thought they'd take a road trip this summer. A little fun, a little sun. What could possibly go wrong? Even under the best driving conditions, semi-trucks can still be dangerous. The results of being in a wreck with 40 tons of steel and speed can be catastrophic. And it only gets worse when you don't have Gruber Law Offices on your side. If you or a loved one has been injured by a semi-truck, call Gruber Law Offices now. One call, that's all.
Welcome back, fans, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero here on My24 Milwaukee. And this week's WWE Report is brought to you by Fight TV. That's F-I-T-E, Fight TV, which features all kinds of combat action from wrestling, boxing, MMA, and of course this very show, the Pro Wrestling Report, as well. Now, you can download the Fight, F-I-T-E app for free right now in the Google Play Store and the iTunes stores and start exploring. And coming up in the next few weeks, David Hero, you're going to now find 2 channels for the Pro Wrestling Report, one for Feedback Friday and one for Primetime, which will have scheduled release times on both Friday and Saturday nights.
When does the David Hero Show get his own channel?
It does not. Folks, Monday on WWE Raw, Shane McMahon was announced as the commissioner of SmackDown by the chairman, Vince McMahon. At the same time, Stephanie McMahon was named the commissioner of Raw. Now, this is not much of a surprise, especially if you've been watching this show. I believe you be the booked that, David Hero, a couple of when the brand split was announced. But what will be a surprise is who Shane O'Mac picks as his GM of the Blue brand this Monday on Raw. Now, in fact, there may have been a hint of it in a brief release on the WWE app after Monday's Raw that welcomed us as fans to the Yes movement on SmackDown.
Whoops, I think they gave it away.
Now, funnily enough, and I'm not trying to take any credit here, but that morning...
Did you say funnily?
Funnily enough.
As in funnily cake?
As in funny. That morning, I thought to myself randomly, I'm like, God, you know what? Daniel Bryan's going to be the SmackDown GM, or the GM of SmackDown, because it just makes sense, right?
If you're going to pay
It's
the guy.
the fresh, it's the new brand, if you will. It's run by Shane. If it's going to be focused on the younger talents, it seemed like Daniel Bryan would be a fix. And then came the leak, which never mentioned Daniel Bryan. It just said, welcome to the Yes Movement. But we all know what that's associated with. But do you think if this were to happen, David Hero, that it is a good choice for Daniel Bryan to work with Shane McMahon on Raw?
Absolutely, because the fans love Daniel Bryan, and if you're going to be paying Daniel Bryan to sit home, well, pay him to come and be a part of the shows.
Well, they're paying him to be commentator on the Cruiserweight Classic.
That's over?
I actually caught. No, it's not over. It's just taped, and they will have a live special in September. But I actually caught that this past Wednesday on the WWE Network, and everybody's salivating over this Cruiserweight Classic series, on social media and on the internet and whatnot.
Oh, it's because they're too small.
No.
They're not big enough for you.
I didn't know who they were, and I wasn't invested. They told a story about each competitor before the matchup, which was great.
Daivari was there.
Yeah.
You know who he is.
And they told a story. They introduced us to them, but there was no investment, at least from my end, in what was tremendous wrestling action. Don't get me wrong. But anyways, Daniel Bryan working on that. Him on SmackDown, you say would be a good choice just for the point that they're paying him anyways, or because the fans will get behind him?
People love Daniel Bryan, Why not?
How would he do in that role, though?
I think he'll be great. I think everything will be a yes or a no answer. I wonder if he shows up in jeans and flannel, like Mick Foley did. But why not? It's a great opportunity for Daniel Bryan to still be on TV, to still make lots of money.
And it's fresh and it's new.
Fans still get to see him, which means he'll still make appearances.
Well, how about over on Raw, David Hero? Who will get the nod by Stephanie to run the Monday Night Show?
I would pick Triple H.
Really?
Why not?
Pick your husband.
What? No, her husband.
Pick her husband.
Yes.
To run Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
He's been surprisingly quiet as of late, hasn't he? Actually, we haven't seen Triple H since Mania on WWE television. Is that the best choice?
It's the only choice.
Why is that?
Because let them run Raw.
Back to the authority. Nothing will have changed then on Raw.
No.
Don't they need something to change?
No, they don't. People are still going to watch Raw regardless.
Is the end game the competition between Triple H and no? Because the competition is still between Stephanie and Shane. Where is it going?
We'll eventually get to Triple H and Shane. There's no doubt. It has to.
Okay, so given all this, if it's Stephanie and Triple H on Raw, Shane and Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, which show becomes the must-see show each week from WWE?
It'll still be Raw, but SmackDown will be the more entertaining show.
The way it's just been described, though, SmackDown will be the fresh, new, hip show, and Raw will be the same old 3-hour crap. In the fans' eyes, with the authority running it.
But the fans are programmed to still watch 3 hours every Monday night.
And they're going to now be programmed to watch 2 hours every Tuesday night because it's live.
And Tuesday's going to be a challenge because, hey, our sister station has The Flash, which is a hot show.
For most fans out there, they're going to pick to watch one over the other, and I think they're going to pick SmackDown. I still believe, and I'll go on record right here today and say it, SmackDown will become the flagship show of WWE.
Blue?
Yes, indeed. SmackDown will become the flagship show of WWE, and it will, if Raw stays the same, essentially, which is what you've just said it would do, may even exceed Raw in the ratings.
There's no way because Raw makes the most money of the two shows.
Because of the extra hour, that's the only reason.
No, not at all. I'm sure the TV deal with USA has Raw getting paid.
They pay a rights fee for both shows, and that rights fee is not changing. It's based on the time of the content and not necessarily which happens on which show.
Just be right.
It's not about being right. I'm simply correcting you on facts you don't have and facts that are out there.
I don't have
about
those on in my
the prices
notes.
and what the USA Network is paying WWE. Folks, also on Raw Monday night, we saw the confrontation between the New Day and the Wyatts, which was very familiar to another match that we saw recently.
Do you think so?
And that was the final deletion match from TNA. Absolutely.
Was there a vote involved?
If TNA would have done this a week after WWE did it, there would not be a soul saying that they didn't copy WWE.
I didn't see it that way.
I'm not saying it was a conscious act. I'm simply saying you can't look at them side by side week after week and say that the similarities were seemingly a bit more than a coincidence. Conceptually.
I'm sure conceptually it's very similar, but I didn't think final deletion when I watched that. I thought, wow, that's taking us back to the 50s.
How did you know? What?
40s and 30s.
I'm sorry?
This is very racial. you had 3 young black men show up in wife beaters and bib overalls, okay, who normally come out to pretty exciting clothes. Yes, and tennis shoes.
Yes.
Were they wearing sandals? I mean, it's pretty close to that. And then you have the 3 white dudes who are wearing white sheep masks over their face in a circle around them. The sheep masks could be contrived as something else, construed as something else. I'm just surprised, and believe me, with the racial tension we have going on right now,
Nobody else saw it that way, though. You're digging real far. I haven't heard not one soul say anything to that nature about that. I don't disagree with you completely.
You didn't find that uncomfortable?
I didn't at all. I found it peculiar, weirdly timed, but
it was very weirdly timed. And
okay, so if you had to pick which was the better between the 2 matches, Final Deletion and the confrontation between the Wyatts and New Day, which would you?
Final Deletion.
Give the win to?
Final Deletion. Here's why.
Dilapidated boat?
They used a birthday candle in the finish.
That was one heck of a Buick Electra, I think it was, though, that the Wyatts drove in.
But what did the New Day drive in?
They didn't show us. I think they were revealed from behind the pickup truck.
It looked like a pickup truck.
Folks, that's it for this week's WWE
Ride
report.
Along, they're in an Escalade.
We're out of time. We're out of time.
Come on.
They did not show up in an Escalade.
In Ride Along?
That wasn't Ride Along. That was Raw. We're out of time, folks. Who made their big TNA debut and who made their TNA return this week on Impact? What's next for a former NXT champion after a big loss on this week's show? And who is this week's Diamond of the Ring? Get the answers to all that and more when Primetime returns right here on My 24 Milwaukee and Fight TV.
Claim your cash for the Robert Hack Diamonds $250,000 gold buying event going on now. We're paying top dollar for your gold. Bring in your gold rings, gold chains, gold bracelets, and claim your cash. Bring in your diamond rings, diamond pendants, loose diamonds, and claim your cash. Bring in your state jewelry, your antique jewelry, and heritage jewelry, and claim your cash. It's fast and easy. If we can't beat a competitor's offer on your scrap gold, we'll give you $20 just for trying.
Robert Hack Diamonds. Fingers looking good.
Welcome back, fans, here at the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero, and it's time for this week's Hot News, folks, which is brought to you by PWR Reaction, which is live on air every Monday and Wednesday and pay-per-view Sunday at PWRshow.com. It's an interactive show that features your calls and your thoughts, and all the details available now at PWRshow.com. WWE star John Cena has signed on for additional work outside of WWE after hosting the ESPYs earlier this week. Did you see the ESPYs, David Hero?
No, I did not, but I heard he did a great job.
It's a star-studded affair. Many members of the WWE team there as well, and some newsworthy things. Vice President Joe Biden also there as well. But Cena's going to be participating in an unscripted TV and online project, several of them actually, with a Left Field Entertainment company, which was a partner for Cena's American Grit series that aired on Fox earlier in the year. John Cena is also going to serve as executive producer on all projects bearing his name. It was also revealed this week that The Rock is now the highest paid actor in Hollywood. It appears that perhaps John Cena might be trying to follow in his footsteps.
He's going to try, but he's not going to get there.
In his footsteps.
Food stamps?
In his footsteps.
When you're the highest paid actor, you don't need food stamps.
In his footsteps. Does Cena have a chance?
No. No, not at all.
In other TV news, WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin has been renewed by Country Music Television, CMT, for his Broken Skull Challenge television show, which returns for its 4th season of competition. Austin also serves as executive producer for that show. And in ratings news this week, WWE saw a big rebound from the low-rated July 4th edition of Raw. Monday's show was watched by nearly 3.2 million viewers, an increase of over 500,000 viewers last week. Now, it should be noted that Raw did air against the Home Run Derby on ESPN, which drew 5.5 million viewers.
It's amazing that that's still a popular event.
The Home Run Derby?
Yeah.
It's like the Slam Dunk Challenge that the NBA does, too, right? It's part of their All-Star weekend. Over on Impact, though, the show took a dip from last week's 410,000 viewers, bringing in an audience of 358,000 viewers for the Destination X branded show, putting it pretty much back on its high level of weekly ratings on Pop TV. And, folks, that does it for this week's hot news. And with that, David Hero, transition is key. Let's go into this week's TNA Impact Wrestling Report.
Which was live.
It was live to a degree, and this past Tuesday on Impact and on Pop TV, TNA had Destination X, which featured the debut of former Ring of Honor star Moose. Now, Moose would come out at the call of Mike Bennett and attack the Wolves and Bobby Lashley after the main event between Bennett and Lashley ended in a no contest. Now, Moose appears to be aligned with Bennett and on his way to a match with Lesnar. But, David, what are your thoughts on the debut of Moose in TNA Impact Wrestling?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm watching the debut of Moose, who was a huge fan favorite in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Big dude. Fans love him. Moose comes out, doing his entrance. Moose doing the whole thing. Crowd's getting behind it. He's supposed to be a heel, but
Apparently, being aligned with Bennett.
He's coming to the ring as a babyface. Babyface reaction, and then he turns on.
Lashley,
Eddie Edwards,
Richards, and Eddie Edwards.
And Lashley, I'm thinking, I don't understand. If he's supposed to be this monster heel, why doesn't he come out as a heel, like a killer, not playing to the fans? Because I was confused, because I'm like, oh, he's a babyface. And then he gets in the ring with Bobby Lashley and, has his deal with him. But I think they kind of misplayed his debut. I think he should have come to the ring as a badass, and they didn't do that with him.
Folks, also on the show, we saw DJ Zema Ion become the #1 contender for the X Division Championship and then get a win over former champion Mike Bennett later in the night. And also, earlier in the night, we had seen the return of Davey Richards.
You're a big DJ Zema Ion fan, aren't you?
Absolutely. After 6 years in the X Division, he now gets his shot. Solid edition of Impact with continuation of the story with the Hardys, which continues to be entertaining, and a very solid 4-way knockouts match as well. Great momentum for TNA as they move to Thursday nights starting next week. Now let's find out, David Hero, who this week's Diamond of the Ring is.
Easy.
Where are my words this week? What has
contest.
happened?
You need to use your words more often.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Get rid of the Jameson out of the cup and start drinking water. It will make things so much easier. But this week's Robert Hack Diamond of the Ring is the UFC WWE star Brock Lesnar.
God, you're all over the place. Please explain. You're all over
Diamond
the
of the
place.
Ring?
No, go right ahead.
Because he dominated. He won. He got the big victory that
he beat an older guy who's out of shape. That's what you said.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I said he beat a guy that was older than him. I didn't say he was out of shape. But Brock Lesnar needed a big win. He got the big win. He's momentum going into SummerSlam. They can use that in the story with Randy Orton, which should make for some great TV. I'm happy Brock got the win. He got a great payday. He just shows that the fake fighter can beat the UFC fighters, which was important for us. This week's Robert Hack Diamond of the Ring, the Beast, Brock Lesnar.
Can you try to say it like Paul Heyman?
No, I'm not going to steal his thing. You can do it.
Good choice for Diamond of the Ring, David Hero.
It's the only choice.
PrimeTime continues in just a few moments with this week's NXT Report, the Event Center, and DHHS.
At Gruber Law Offices, we understand that when you've been injured, life is tough. That's why we offer so many services for free. First call, free. First consultation, free. Stuck at home or in the hospital? We'll come to you for free. We'll deal with the insurance company for you and get you the help you need. Call Gruber Law Offices now. We don't get paid until you do, and your first consultation is always free.
Welcome back, fans, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night here on My 24 Milwaukee. Davey Nelson sitting alongside David Hero, and let's go to this week's NXT report, where the dream match between Nakamura and Finn Balor occurred on this week's episode, and it was everything it was cracked up to be. But I didn't quite expect Nakamura to get the win after the hard-fought match. And we also found out that Nakamura will take on Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship at TakeOver Brooklyn. Now, this seemed to leave Finn Balor in a bit of a dark space in NXT with not much else to do or deliver. Does this free up Balor for the inevitable call-up to the main roster as part of Tuesday's draft on SmackDown, David Hero?
Absolutely. He will be drafted on Tuesday somewhere, Raw or SmackDown. He's going to be the bright young star. He'll be like the Rookie of the Year. You got to figure, right? It makes the most.
Well, it makes sense. Absolutely. I'm just trying to figure out where his place is and how that introduction should go.
I think he goes on SmackDown.
Okay, makes
really
sense.
Do. You know,
because he's fresh and new with Shane.
Right. You know, Shane's going to go to NXT and he's going to pull some guys from there. Because Shane wants the younger guys to get a chance.
So is Finn Balor long-term, or even short-term, both short-term and long-term, is he main event material in WWE on the main roster?
I don't know if he is top of the card main event, but he's definitely mid to upper card main event.
Why not top of the card?
You gotta work your way to get there. You really do. Size still matters. It does.
It does, but all of the shenanigans he wears as the demon masks his size.
Can you see Finn Balor in the ring with Brock Lesnar right now?
Could you see CM Punk in the ring with Brock Lesnar? Because he did that.
They had a common denominator. They had Paul Heyman. They got there with that.
For what it's worth, Finn Balor did not appear on the NXT tapings that occurred this past Wednesday night for shows airing over the next 4 weeks. David Hero, before we get to the event center, coming to Brady Street, it's the Casablanca Rumble.
Oh, it's the Casa Rumble. It's going to be a huge show. It's going to be Saturday, July 30th, right in front of Casablanca on Brady. Al Snow will be defending his GLCW championship against Mr. Spectacular, Jesse Goddard of TNA Impact Wrestling. And then, of course, Melanie Cruz, Xavier Mustafa, Angel Armani, and Katie Forbes will be in attendance.
With that in mind, let's now go to this week's event center. Actually, Julie's going to join me for the event center right now.
Really?
Welcome, folks, to the PWR Event Center. I'm Linda Kay, sitting alongside Julie Smith. Julie, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing, Linda?
Tremendous. Oh, I'm not Linda. Linda's on location. She's on assignment this week. She's down at Bastille Days.
Oh, yeah.
Getting her groove on. Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
be there, too, all weekend long.
Oh, really? I plan on meeting y'all down there later.
It'll be a big fun fest.
But first, we got to go to Casablanca.
Casablanca for our famous hookah. Absolutely.
Great food, great hookah, tremendous hookah. That's Casablanca on Brady. But first, let's talk about some events coming to the area. And Legacy Pro Wrestling and C.H. Coakley Sam Containers presents Redemption Saturday. That's July 23rd at Kochanski's Concertina Beer Hall. It's at 1920 South 37th Street right here in Milwaukee. Now, this is a family-friendly, all-ages event with tickets starting at just $5 for kids under 12, and tickets are available at LegacyProWrestling.com. Now, if you use the code PWR Show, you get a $5 discount off of front row tickets. Moving on from there, I understand that a WWE Hall of Famer is also coming to town soon. Why don't you tell us about it, Julie?
That's right. Meet WWE Hall of Famer Ted DiBiase at the Lakeshore Chinooks game on August 2nd in Mequon. Get more info right now at LakeshoreChinooks.com. That's it for this week's Event Center, brought to you by Casablanca on Brady.
Well, now with that being said, it is time for this week's DWHS. David Hero has spoken.
Yes,
even if you don't want him to.
DWHS, David Hero has spoken. It's simple. Wrestling fans, it is a great time to be a wrestling fan. Monday nights you have Raw. Tuesday nights is live SmackDown. Wednesday nights is NXT and Lucha Underground.
Ah, wow. You watching that now?
Thursday nights is going to be TNA Impact Wrestling.
Friday nights is New Japan Pro Wrestling on Access TV.
And Saturday night is now our night, just for us, along with Ring of Honor here in Milwaukee. Yeah. So you have 5-6 nights a week of professional wrestling. Can you say oversaturated? Maybe a little bit.
It's a lot of
But there's a lot of wrestling to watch. It's going to be interesting to see who the next big stars are going to be. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Will it grow a bigger fan base, or will it stay stale? It's up to all of us. And with that, David Hero has spoken.
And folks, with that, that is this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time.